how we heal. It's how we live. If you are a Tem, then we'll need Savim. We stand here today, remember the dream. If you are a Tem, then we'll need Savim. We stand here today and remember the dream. If you are a Tem, then we'll need Savim. We stand here today, remember the dream. If you are a Tem, then we'll need Savim. We stand here today, remember the dream. If you are a Tem, then we'll need Savim. We stand here today, remember the dream. If you are a Tem, then we'll need Savim. We stand here today, remember the dream.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is great to be here with you on this Shabbat Nitzavim Vayelech, and we're all maybe not standing, but certainly all together to celebrate Shabbat and also to celebrate Joshua Roomberg's Bar Mitzvah. So we are especially happy to be together today. If you're new to our Zoom Shabbat experience, I want to direct you to our chat where we have placed a link to our Siddur. You can also access that Siddur from our website if you'd like to look at it on a separate device, perhaps a tablet or a phone. If you're with us on Facebook Live in the comment section, there's a link there as well. And if you're with us on our live stream, there's a link right below a button to access that book as well. We're going to start our service on page 74, singing Ma Tovu together.
Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Israel.
I want to share a story with you that I think will help us frame what this moment of worship together is all about. One Shabbos morning, just before the start of the new year, like this one, Reb Dov Ber, the Maggid of Mezrich, began services by saying, "We are all like the shofar." So he explained, a shofar sounds only when breath is blown through it. We can only say prayers because God moves through us. Like God, those sacred sounds are all around, but they need us to give them melody, movement, and most of all, meaning. Without us, they would flow unnoticed through the universe. We then must be the instruments that bring those prayers to life. Thus, the purpose of our gathering this Shabbat morning, to give prayer a voice, to sound that shofar. by reading with us in your prayer books, in the Hebrew if you can, joining us in the readings, joining us as Joshua leads us in worship, joining Cantor Berlin when she sings out in joy every single song. Whether you know the words exactly or not, let the italics help you, the transliteration help you to join in with us. Give prayer a voice, sound the shofar, listening to your inner spirit, enabling meditations to speak to you, hearing words of Torah and the message they're teaching, whether spoken by the rabbis, the cantor, or our newest teacher of Torah, our bar mitzvah, Joshua, just coming of age. So this Shabbos morning, we're gathered in God's presence, yet the Holy One will remain silent unless we let God's words become our own. Sound the shofar. Join with us in prayer. We're going to join and begin on page 78, praising God for the gift of body and soul. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tahorahi. My God, the soul you have given me is pure.
Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorahi. Ata verata, ata yetzarta, ata nefachta bi. Ve'ata meshamera, meshamra b'kirbi. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorahi.
We turn now to page 88. As we contemplate our obligations to each other, to our community, the opportunities we have to make our community whole. We read together Elu Divarim She'en Lahem Shior in the English. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer and making peace among people, but the study of Torah encompasses them all. We turn now to page 106 for Chatzi Kaddish. If you're able, we invite you to stand and remain standing through the Shema.
Yitkadash Shemei Rabba, Amen. Be'amad yivrach chirutei, ve'amnich malchutei, v'chayachonu v'mechonu v'chayerecho b'it Yisrael, ba'agala v'zaman kariv, v'imeru, Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba mevorach, le'olam olamei amaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, Yitbar v'jaman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal, Shemei Kodesha brichu, Le'ila min kol bechata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alema, v'imeru, Amen.
As we turn to page 108 for the Baruch Hu, it is my pleasure to invite our bar mitzvah, Joshua Alexander Roomberg, to come forward and lead us in the next portion of our worship service. But Josh, before you go any further, I want you to unmute yourself so we can all hear your beautiful voice.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. We continue on page 110. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvarei hoshech, Osei shalom uvarei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer hameorot. We continue on page 113. Once or twice in a lifetime, a man or woman may choose a radical leaving, having heard Lech Lecha, go forth. God disturbs us toward our destiny by hard events, and now, by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. We don't like leaving, but God loves becoming. Baruch atah Adonai, Per be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. We continue on page 114. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Elhad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue together on page 116. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol avacho v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anahim mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha Uvlectecha b'aderech, u'shoktecha uvkimecha. Shatam leot hayodecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha. Uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. Le'man tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'rikem kedoshim Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohim, Asher hotzeitem be'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lahem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohim. Amen. We continue at the top of page 121. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame. Stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all of Israel, we sing out and rejoice.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norot ilot osef ele, shira chadasha shibchol geolim, לשמך שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Shvat Yisrael, Uv'dechinu Mecha, Yehuda v'Yisrael. Go'aleinu Adonai Tzivaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
We continue with the chanting of the Amidah on page 124. Please rise. Adonai seftav titav ufir gitafilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim, Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagedol, Hagibor, Vehanara, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vikonei Hakol, Zoher Hasei Avot Imahut, Umevi, Ulal Ifnei Benehim, Lamon Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Hozer Moshiach, Baruch atah Adonai, making Avraham Mizrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mihaye Hakol Atah Rav Hoshia. Mechachel Chaim Behesed, Mihaye Hakol Berakamim Rabim. Somek Noflim Ferfeh Holim, Umatir Asirim. Umihaya emunato lishenei afa mihamal habe'al gevuro umidomenu malach memim umihaya unatzmiya geshua v'ne'eman atal lehayod hakol Baruch atah Adonai mehaye hakol. Continue on page 130.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Please join in singing Yismahu as we praise God for the gift of Shabbat.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת מקדש שבי שבת כולם יספרו ויתענגו מטובך שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת קוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת קוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת קוראי עונג שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
We continue on page 137. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve and reverence. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors. Forever, you are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation. In every generation, let us thank you and praise you for our lives, which are in your hand, and for our souls, which are in your care. For your miracles that we experience every day, for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live afar you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
Grant peace, goodness, and blessing, grace, kindness, and mercy to us and all your people Israel. Bless us, our Creator, all of us together, through the light of your presence. Truly, through the light of your presence, Adonai, our God, you gave us a Torah of life, the love of kindness, justice, and blessing, mercy, life, and peace. May you see fit to bless your people Israel at all times, at every hour, with your peace. Praise are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace.
As we say these words of peace, we also think of those who face the future not fully whole, those who are in need of healing, of mind, of body, and of spirit. As we think of them and in a moment see their names on the screen, we add the names of those that we have in our hearts. We think of all of those right now in the midst of our pandemic who need that extra support and love and prayer. If you'd like to add a name to the one that's on the list, you may say so out loud. Misha Berach can be found on page 253.
Misha berach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha berach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Please take a moment for your own silent prayers. Aseh shalom b'namav, Huyasa shalom aleinu, ve'ala kol Yisrael, ve'imru yimeru, amen. Yasa shalom, yasa shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yasa shalom, yasa shalom, shalom aleinu
We are now ready for the main event, Seder Kriyat Torah, our service for reading the Torah. Of course, in these Zoom times, we're going to do this a little differently, but nevertheless, we're going to take an opportunity to metaphorically pass Torah down to Joshua. Physically passing Torah from one generation to the next is a treasured ritual for our B'nai Mitzvah families. So even though we cannot do that physically together on our bima at Temple Beth-El, we're still able to pass Torah down to Joshua. At each bar mitzvah ceremony, we share the Talmudic teaching, Torah Tivalanu Moshe Morashat Kihilat Yaakov. This is the Torah given by God to Moses, the inheritance of the congregation of Israel. And as we share Torah's journey from generation to generation, from Moses to Joshua, from Joshua to the elders, from the elders to the prophets, and the prophets to the men of a great assembly, from the men of the great assembly to the rabbis, we pause and reflect on how each generation made Torah their own, imparting its eternal truths in modern ways to the next generation, sharing along the way the values and traditions, the love of and pride in their heritage that inspired them to keep that chain alive. And this tradition enables us to be here today with you, Joshua. You're the newest link in the chain. And so today we invite your family to pass Torah down to you virtually by sharing their dearest traditions and truths with you, both Jewish and otherwise. And so we're going to have, I think, your dad share some words of blessing from your grandmother as we make ready for you to own this moment as a bar mitzvah.
My grandmother, beautiful lady. I mean, my mother, his grandmother.
This is from Grandma Josh. Today, as you celebrate this milestone, I share my knowledge with you. Read, listen, explore ideas. Stretch your mind every day. As a family, we treasure and care for the world around us. We share with every living thing, especially dogs. Love all people, create peace and beauty wherever you go. Into the world. Love, Grandma.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful words. And now, Joshua, we prepare for reading and teaching Torah. Cantor Berlin is going to tell us a little bit about this week's Torah portion.
So this week we actually have a double portion from Nitzavim and Vayelech. Josh is going to be reading from Vayelech, which means "and he went," referring to Moses, who went before the Israelites and spoke of his impending death. Moses appoints Joshua to be the next leader. Moses gives final instructions to the Israelite, and then God tells him that the people will rebel after his death. And Josh is going to be reading from the beginning of Deuteronomy chapter 31. It's my pleasure to call Joshua forward to read Torah. Josh is not reading from an actual Torah scroll, but all of our students practice with a picture from the actual Torah scroll. So that is, and in the Torah, there are no vowels under the letters. And so Josh has worked hard to learn this section of Torah. And it's my pleasure to call him forward. Ya'amod Shlomo ben Mordechai, habachur habar mitzvah.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim. Salanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Vayikra Moshe Lihoshua Vayomer Elav Le'enei Chol Yisrael Azak Ve'emat Ki Ata Tavo Et Ha'am Hazeh El Haaretz Asher Nishba Adonai La'avotam לתת להם ואתה הנהילנה אותם ואדוני הוא ההולך לפניך הוא יהיה עמך לא ירפך ולא יעזבך לא תירא ולא תחת ביתו משה את התורה הזאת ויתנה אל הכהנים בני לוי הנושאים את ארון ברית אדוני ואל כל זקני ישראל. And Moses called to Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, be strong and resolute, for it is you who shall go with the people into Israel, land the Eternal swore to their fathers to give them. And it is you who shall apportion it to them. And it is indeed the Eternal who shall go before you. God will be with you. God will not fail you or forsake you. Fear not, and not be dismayed. Moses wrote down this teaching and gave it to the priests, sons of Levi, who carried the ark of the Eternal's covenant, and to all the elders of Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, Hinu melech haolam, asher nata lanu Torah emet, v'hayeh olam nata b'tolchenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
My Torah portion, Nitzavim Vayelech, begins with Moses gathering the people of Israel, telling them that he is too old to be their leader. Then he tells them that Joshua will be their new leader. And the people are going to Israel with Joshua as their new leader. Then Moses says to the Israelites that the covenant of God is good for all people, kids, babies, women, men, and even non-Jews. God tells the Israelites that even if they pray to idols, they will be punished. But people can redeem themselves by apologizing to God and the people that they have wronged, and proving that they are sorry by doing good actions. God believes that we can do the right things and that we can remain a covenant people. It is easy. God knows that even if we do wrong things, we can do the right things in the future, and God will forgive us. This is one of the passages in Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur is all about forgiveness. But you first must ask forgiveness of the person that you've wronged, and then you can say you're sorry to God. You also have to try not to do that thing again. These verses have a lot to do with things today. Unlike in my Torah portion, in the United States we elect a leader. Ariel Medalski, a famous political scientist, wrote a book called Moses is a Leader. In this book he said, Moses was trying to teach Joshua leadership skills. He said, 1, a good leader must not make quick decisions. But 2, a leader must let others speak and must listen to everyone, even if those who disagree with you A good leader knows that encouraging diverse things is good for a community. I agree that a good leader must not be too quick to act on decisions because you never know. Someone might have a better idea than you. You need to gather as much information as you can before making a decision. I believe leaders should give others a chance and to give them a chance to speak, listening to them before making a decision and acting on it. And making a decision, you should talk it out through words, not violence. People who use violence are probably jumping to conclusions or just outright stupid. It is possible that violence can change someone's opinion, but it is unlikely and not the most reliable technique. This Torah portion relates to the events today because elections are coming up, and each person should look at the candidate's leadership qualities and be thinking about those carefully before they make their decision about who they should vote for. Becoming a bar mitzvah is important to me because I will become a Jewish adult. In the process of preparing for my bar mitzvah, it has taught me about leadership because the subject of my Torah portion. It's not everyone who gets to have a Torah portion about the person that you are named after. I would like to thank all the people who have committed to helping me and supporting me to get to this day. First of all, I would like to thank Hagit. It would have been so much harder to be stuck with learning how to pronounce Hebrew letters and words with her. Thank you, Dad. You are the main person who kept pushing me to practice. Dad, you're a great example of a Jewish man. I would not have made it this far without him. Thank you, Mom, for helping me with this speech and keeping me focused. Thank you so much, Rabbi Yergin, for your help. Thank you especially to your Devar Torah organizer. It made it much easier to write the speech. Thank you, Cantor Berlin, for making recordings of all the prayers so I could listen to them as many times that I needed. You have such a nice voice. Thank you, Rabbi Nathan, for your leadership of this temple. Finally, I'd like to thank all of my Sunday school teachers and helpers here at Temple Beth-El, especially Miss Leah and Miss Kerman, for working with me on my letters and prayers in the time leading up to this year. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom and Yasher Koch. Wonderful job. Go ahead, keep going.
My prophetic text can be found on one of the windows in the sanctuary. It is from Samuel the 1st. Chapter 16, verse 7. It essentially says, do not consider your appearance or height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things that people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. This verse is about another choice for a leader. God told Samuel to choose a king, who ends up being King David. Samuel goes through 6 of Jesse's sons, but God says none of them are the correct. Even though they look kingly, God tells Samuel to choose a different king who is committed to doing good. And has a good heart instead of someone who just looks like a king. So just because someone looks worthy of holding power doesn't mean they are. Looks aren't everything. You need to look at what good they have done and try to do in their life. My mitzvah project is about gathering things for the animal shelter San Antonio Pets Alive needs. I wanted to help in person, but then COVID happened. And this and they stopped taking in-person volunteers. It's related to this prophetic text because I think when you choose an animal from the animal shelter to be your pet, you may have to look beyond what they look like. Even though they may look funny, ugly, or even bad, they may have a good heart and be a great pet. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Yesher Koach. We're now going to invite your parents to share some special blessings for you in honor of this moment of your bar mitzvah.
So Josh, you know why I had Dad read Grandma's thing, just because, I mean, she's my mom, but he read it because I got to keep this short. I'll start crying like I did at John's bar mitzvah, and that would not be pretty. I am so proud of you. You are really amazing. Throughout all the tough times we've had lately, the stress and fears associated with COVID-19, the rough transition to online learning for both of us, the summer when you had rather been doing anything else besides practicing, allergies, migraines, Shadow's tendency to eat things she shouldn't, and other things I'm sure I've forgotten, you have persevered. You've worked very hard preparing for your Torah portion, Devar Torah speech, the readings and the prayers. And now here you stand, a Jewish man ready to take on the responsibilities of your faith. I know being Jewish is important to you, and I have no doubt that you will continue making your faith an important part of your life. You are a blessing to our family and those you know. You are going to do amazing things. I can't wait to watch and be there as you move forward with your life. I love you. And I have to stop now because I'm tearing up again.
Josh, we are so proud of you and how hard you worked, and how far you've come in your Jewish studies. Becoming a Jewish man does not end with your bar mitzvah. It starts with you. I really saw that process begin 3 weeks ago. You took charge of trying to perfect your prayers without me having to push. With COVID, we're in strange times. While it's unfortunate we cannot be in the synagogue to physically pass down over to you, that's just a symbolic symbol. I hope you never forget that God is always with you and you are always with God, no matter where you are, if you just pay attention. I hope you focus on the true teachings of Torah, seeking a life of joy, love, peace, and a purpose beyond yourself. However, life never goes according to plan. Do not think when you encounter difficulties in life that God is forsaking you. God forges you in hardship and challenges to mold you and to strengthen you to better face the next challenge so you can better serve Him. Preparing for your bar mitzvah was one such challenge, and you have succeeded well. You have a wonderful, kind heart and a sharp brain. You're well on the path to becoming a great Jewish man to make your own children proud. You have already made your parents extremely proud, and we are so glad God brought your spirit to us to take care of you. My blessing for you is the same as I wrote in your prayer book, the thing God gave you when you began this bar mitzvah journey, back when you began Hebrew school. May your faith always be strong as a mountain. May you always hear God's voice whispering to you. May your spirit always sail like a hawk in flight. You did a great job.
Your parents had such beautiful things to say to you, Josh, and I think that they are so well earned. I don't think I told you this before, but you and I actually share this double Torah portion. My bat mitzvah Torah portion was Nitzavim, yours is Vayelech, so we work together perfectly. So this Torah portion is really, it's in my heart and a really important one to me. And I think how you focused on it and also connected in your prophetic text really speaks to where we are right now in this world, and also who you are as a human being and a young man evolving into a terrific human being. As you talked about, this is a moment of transition in the Torah portion. It's the end of Moses's life. He's appointing a new leader and reminding the people that it's okay that there is change, and also acknowledging that things are not always going to go so well and that they're not always going to behave so well, but in the end, they can always return to their better selves, right? So understanding, as you quoted so beautifully, this idea of what leadership is all about sometimes making quick choices and decisions, but always being willing to hear other people's opinions. I think this is such sound advice for every single one of us, and also for you as you continue to be a menschy, thoughtful, kind human being. Right? To hear what other people have to say and to respect that, even if it's not exactly how you see things, and to make sure that they feel included, just like you want them to keep you included as well. It's really so heartening to see all the faces and to see the names of all the people who are here to support you this morning, friends from Temple Beth-El, and also from other parts of your life, because you are the kind of person that makes people want to support you and cheer you on. And I know that every single one of us is so proud of you. The prophetic quote text that you chose is one of my favorites. This idea that Samuel preaches to us, that God sees what's in our hearts and values us for who we are, not on the outside, but the inside. I know that that's really important text to you and a really important understanding of the world. It's really important to me too. So I love that you chose that text. And whether you're sharing that love of who someone is or what someone is, if there happens to be a furry friend, knowing that you look at people and animals and the world around you for not what's just on the surface, but what's inside, is really a testament to the deepness of who you are as a human being. So we are so proud of you becoming a bar mitzvah today, and we're proud of you every day. So at this moment where so many blessings are abounding, we're going to offer you the priestly benediction. So I'm going to ask you to kind of step forward towards the camera and ask your mom and dad to stand behind you with their hands on your shoulders. And thank you, Susan. So we're not perfect, so you all aren't chopped off. There's a lot of extra bar and bat mitzvah skills required for a Zoom bar mitzvah. You're all doing a beautiful job. And Cantor's going to sing, and Rabbi Jurgen and I are going to share blessings so we can all bless you together.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God deal kindly with you and be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's radiant presence shine upon you, Joshua, and grant you life's choicest blessings of health, wholeness, happiness, lots of family love, and most of all, peace. Amen. Would your parents give you a little hug or kiss right there? Make them do it. There we go. If we were at Temple, I would make them do it. So I'm going to make them do it now too. There we go. All right. Yes. Perfect. Beautiful.
Love it. All right. So your family can sit, Joshua, but you have to stand still. It's okay. It's not that long. All right. So was this the fastest bar mitzvah you've ever been to? Yeah. Right. It goes really. What? It goes really, really fast when it is yours, right? So we give you a couple of gifts, and I'm not sure if they were sent to you already or if you'll get them soon. So you'll get them soon. But one of the things that you're going to get is a certificate so that you can say, I really did this, even though it seems like a blur and it feels like maybe it hasn't happened yet. You can say, I've really done this. So we have a certificate that says the date. It's got our signatures on it. It is legit, so that you can tell everybody, I had my bar mitzvah and I rocked it, because you did. So also within that, there is a gift certificate from North American Federation of Temple Youth to help get you on a trip to Israel. And when you go through confirmation, Temple Beth-El will match that as well, really to get you on that trip. You're also going to get a tzedakah box from Yachad, which is our religious school parents group. And that tzedakah box, I know that you will put to good use, because when we talked about a mitzvah project, you had all these different ideas. And then the pandemic hit and we had to kind of reroute. So I know that you put it to good use, because you have so many different options and places that you can put that money towards. You're also going to get a Kiddush cup and candlesticks from Brotherhood, which is going to help you continue on your Jewish journey, that you have your own set for yourself, that you can join in Shabbat celebrations with your family, but with your own traditions beginning. And then from Sisterhood, you're going to get a Tanakh, which has your name on it, to continue studying the texts differently than you have for your bar mitzvah, but to be able to give you that opportunity to study those and continue reading and your Jewish journey, which I know so much to you. So all of these gifts you'll be getting soon, but I am excited that I get to present those to you. We continue now with our concluding portion of our service. Aleinu is on page 283. And if you are able, I invite you to please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, latet kirela le'otzer bereshit, shehu samech elkeinu le'ached et shemo, ve'gor aleinu l'amlich malechuto, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachevim u'modim, lifnei melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech ha'kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo
You may be seated. As we turn to our memorial meditation on page 291, we note with sadness the death of Betty Health, mother of Dundee Murray and Melissa Cross, grandmother of Luke Jeffrey, sister-in-law of Sally Health, and many generations of nieces and nephews. Page 291, a meditation by Rabbi Richard Levy. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can only what we were, in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world, and each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming, we affirm the worth of each one whose life now ended brought us closer to the source of life, and whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yahrzeits, we remember them. Keith A. Ashworth, Diane Markson Bame, Isabel Benson, Jennifer Ann Berkman, Beatrice B.D. Burns, Morris Abraham Burns, I. Bob Blumenthal, Betty Cohen, Brooke Greenwald Cohen, Sam Cohen, Joan Ellen Epstein, Louis Forchheimer, Sylvia Z. Foy, Miguel Rojas Garza, Robert Gernsbacher, Eli Golden, Ike Goodman, Aaron Green, Andrew Gerwitz, Marie Hart, Mary Hines, Ernest Honig, Herman, Rosanna Hormache, Rupert C. Jackson, Ben David Cantor, Gerald Kaplan, Joseph Keogh, Meyer Kornreich, Viola N. Coons, Thelma Lasser, Nathalie G. Leon, Eve Levis, Rose Levy, Elliot Latofsky, Marjorie W. Margolin, Gertrude Marks, David Newworth, Sylvan Nordhaus, Leah Ray Olive, Millie Orion, Paul Pearlstone, Beauregard Benjamin Pollock, Edith Raffel, Edith Glassberg Reed, Eugene Rosenstein, Harry Saul Moe Ruddleson, Julius Segor, Jerome Saltzman, Mark Schwartzman, Glenn Seidenfeld, Ross Stewart Sealine, Edward Simon, Ronald A. Simon, Eric Stein, Joseph Stileski, Libby Stuhl, Dolly Sumberg, Orlando Temple, Alex R. Thomas, Gloria Trout, Nathan Troudlier, Minette Urbach, Simon Werbner, Thomas William, and Sam Winter. To those names, we add those who died in the past month, whose families are in a mourning period of Shloshim. Remember Ruth Susser Shapira, Lynn Lowe, Alan Richard Kahn, Beatrice B. M. Chapa, Laura Richmond, and Michael Stern. We also think of those who've died in the past week, whose families are in a mourning period of Shiva. We remember Rose Dreisison, mother of Trudy Shea Petty and Marilyn and Aaron Kaufman. John Roach, son of Steve and Mickey Gross and Cherry Gross. Marlene Gloria Carden, mother of Alan Carden and mother-in-law of Kathy Carden. Grandmother of Kristen and Patrick Sharp, Ryan and Vicki Leonhardt, Jordan Leonhardt, Alana Carden, Rachel Carden and Greg Harris, and Eli Carden, great-grandmother of many. At this sacred hour, Joshua's family particularly remembers Rhoda Dersch, Dennis Eisman, Kay Eisman, Maurice Eisman, Sanford Roomberg, Flora Roomberg, Larry Roomberg, Lillian Roomberg, Mark Roomberg, and Herbert Roomberg. To all of these names, we add those which are in our hearts each and every day as we join together as a community in Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Please rise. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei, V'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayed chol Beit Yisrael, V'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mavarach le'olam olmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha b'richu, Le'ela min kol berachata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, Ta'amiran be'elma v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, V'aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Osei Shalom b'imromav, Hu ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. Our closing song is Esa Einai on page 339.
Shamayim v'aretz, Ezri me'im Adonai, Oseh
Mazel Tov and Shabbat Shalom. Joshua, we invite everyone to turn their cameras on. So, and unmute yourselves so you can wish Josh a Mazel Tov and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. Feel free to write some encouraging words in the chat as well.
Mazal tov. Mazal tov.
Mazel tov.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you, Hagi.
Mazel tov.
My pleasure. Mazal tov. So proud of you.
Thank you.
You did great, Josh.
Thank you.
Mazal tov, you rocked it, Josh. Way to go.
Come on. Good job, Josh. We're proud of you.
Congratulations and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. So we are going to end our service now. Josh, I hope you feel amazing about all the great stuff you did today. Wishing every single one of you as well a Shana Tova, a sweet, happy, and healthy new year. Hopefully we'll see you all in some way or form for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which begins next week. Of course, if you're in our community and want to join us tonight, 9 p.m. for Slichot on live stream, or tomorrow from 9:30 to 12, we're doing a special drive-by at Temple, a Rosh Hashanah caravan. Come hear the sounding of the shofar live, and there's a lot of other stuff happening as well. So we invite you to join us at some point during that time to say hello in person. Shana Tova, everyone.
Shana
Good job, Josh.